1955, a small group of men came together to form the Asphalt Paving Association of Iowa. Their goal was to ensure the integrity and quality of their product, asphalt. In 2015, the Asphalt Paving Association of Iowa celebrates 60 years of excellence and the men and women who have made Iowa's asphalt industry the very best in the nation.
Well, I started out with Western Engineering in the spring of 1952, working on a base crew.
I started as a college kid, working part-time in the summers, and I worked for my future father-in-law, Iowa Road Building Company. And I started as a truck driver, and then worked around the seal coat crews, and it was a great summer job, and you worked so hard that you were glad that college was starting in the fall.
1959, I came home from military service on a Friday night. So Saturday morning I was on Interstate 80 west of Des Moines, running a roller for concrete materials. There was 6 asphalt plants west of Des Moines there. When we'd fire up in the morning, you could see the smoke from 6 plants.
I had worked for my father's construction company. I was sweeping floors when I was in grade school. I think I made a dime a week or something like that.
It started in '57. When I got out of the Army, I was looking for a job, and before I went to school, and so I worked for Hargrave Construction Company that summer. They were paving from Colo, my hometown, to Eldora.
I got introduced into the asphalt industry when I was working my way through college with a small sole proprietorship pavement maintenance company. At that point in time, I got introduced to several people at a little bit higher scale, and kind of prompted me to decide my career path at that point in time.
Well, my first job was actually working for my grandfather, who was a small contractor in Wisconsin, a small excavation contractor. Basically dug ditches through the marshes of Wisconsin. So I was a grunt. I did everything from hauling fuel to him to doing some basic survey. Every once in a while he let me get on the dozer and level out some spoils, but that was a special day when he let me do that.
I got my start with the DOT back in 1983 and went to field construction, the bituminous field engineer position, and worked directly with and under John Smythe for 5 or 6 years.
The first time I actually helped out around here in the shop and everything, we're in the building business and we're non-union, so we actually had our office here in Atlantic dynamited, and it made an incredible mess back out in the shop and the parts department. So I think that was my first job as a kid, was helping put back parts and sorting. And you know, there's never a dull moment in the asphalt business. So.
There's a lot more to asphalt construction than people realize. It's technically can be very complicated. Back in those days, it wasn't as complicated as it is today. There's so many new things and innovations that have taken place.
We have seen oil now up over $600 per liquid ton, and part of what saved our company and everyone in our industry is the fact that the DOT has supported our industry quite well, and they've had plenty of jobs out there. They knew that asphalt was going to be the best product for their needs, and they ended up continuing to use us even though the price of oil has went so high, particularly in 2008.
Well, the asphalt industry here is just always had to battle concrete for as long as I've been around, and I mean, it goes back way before me. And so the two industries have been, you know, tooth and nail. I think actually that's made maybe both industries better. So we have to keep getting better.
As far as some of the cities and counties, you know, they just got it fixed in their mind that the only thing is concrete, and that's wrong. You know, there's a place for concrete. That'd be bridges and culverts, and the rest is, you know, you can put asphalt just about any place.
The relationship between the DOT and the industry back in those days was cordial, but strained, perhaps. The way that we were contracting back then was not entirely fair, I would have to say, the way the DOT controlled the mixes, and yet the contractors were held accountable.
And I think about that time, actually the industry, as I recall, proposed to the DOT that we need to find a way to work together to control our mixes to improve quality.
And I'll give the state themselves some considerable credit for that, because the one thing that's happened in Iowa, or at least I feel it has, particularly since the QA, is that we're on the same side. And that tends to make the road better.
I believe the QMA committee made a huge improvement in the relationship between the DOT and the industry. We were all looking for the same thing, and there had to be a way to work together to get there, and there was.
It hasn't always been perfect, but I'm just one side of the team, you know, that tries to work together. And while they don't always agree with us and we don't always agree with them, eventually we come together and we produce a product that's as good as can be made. And we have always come together. We've always been friends with the people that work at the DOT. We see them at conferences, we see them at talks. They contribute to our industry, and they're quite helpful, they're quite understanding, and they're, for the most part, I think they're very fair.
Well said.
Not always, but that's just my side of it.
Iowa contractors are probably as good or better than any of them in the whole United States, I think. I mean, they do great work.
I think Iowa contractors have that sense of pride that they want to be the very best that they can be. They are accountable for what happens, so they take responsibility.
If I recall correctly, I believe we were the first Iowa company that was bestowed the pleasure of being awarded the Sheldon G. Hayes Award. You can't even imagine conceptually a paving company from the middle of Iowa, amongst all the competition throughout the entire nation, being awarded the prestige of such an award. For our organization, it was paramount to climbing Mount Everest.
I think it's a due diligence of not just Pelling Company, you know, but all the contractors in Iowa seem to really care. They want to put out a good product, and I think they all strive to do that.
But the Iowa contractors are good people. They're honest people. You know, they treat their employees well.
I even hear people now that mention the fact, you know, that, man, that's smooth, you know, that drive off of concrete on their asphalt and start noticed the difference right away. And we've certainly, Iowa contracts had a lot to do with that.
Quite frankly, starts with my family. My mother and my father supported me greatly getting myself through college. My wife and my children support me in my career to this day. Without those two, I'm sure that I wouldn't be standing here and I'd be involved in a different industry.
Rex Finley and Grant Finley, I had a lot of respect for them. John Smythe and John Adams. Merle Manat was a very good. I mean,
I'd say to start with, you know, I could go back to High Cessford. I could mention Steve Howard. Dale Moore was another good friend from Fort Dodge Asphalt.
Ken McLaughlin, who was the state construction engineer when I was in Cedar Rapids. I'll have to tip my hat to Bill Lemons.
Dean Hirschberger, he's passed away at a young age, but he's the guy that hired me with Pelling Company. And the other one was Russ Reinhardt. He taught me how to have a good time at working.
Pretty much my family. I mean, my grandfather and just decided one day, thought he could do it on his own, and my father came out of college and my grandfather said, we're going to do this. And like Gaylord Bucamp, who was in the Hall of Fame, and he was just an unbelievably great company guy. I still have never seen anybody work as hard and as long as him. Still, nobody beats that guy.
It's a people business, and people are the backbone of your business. And you can have all the fancy, shiny equipment, but if you don't have the right people, it isn't going to work very well.
I tell you, if you think you can go somewhere else and meet any finer people, you know, you always kind of think of road construction and all that as kind of a rough life and everything, and it can be kind of rough and stuff, but you'll never meet any better people than is in this industry. I can tell you that there's people right here in this building that are as fine a people as you could ever work with.
The people are what makes Iowa's asphalt industry special. These individuals who work the long hours, who live the life, and take pride in their workmanship, they deserve the recognition for making Iowa asphalt great. There truly are no better people than those men and women who work in Iowa's asphalt industry.